Hi, friends. Hello, the world. It's such a pleasure to meet you again for this Friday edition. And I know that I look like as if I ran from somewhere and came over to you. But it's so hot here where I am in Italy, even though it's raining. So it's a strange weather. Anyway, I hope that you can all hear me well. Okay. So today's topic that I wanted to talk about is whether we are using regret right. And, and when I talk about this, you probably think like, oh my God, she's running out of things to talk about. So now regret is left. If that's the case, it's okay. Because I want to just highlight how my observations are in terms of coaching my clients. And I see over and over again that one of the main reasons why people don't want to make decision one way or another is because of regretting. So that's why we tend to stay in indecision. So the way that I have observed is that regretting scares us. And we think that once we start regretting, there is no way back, meaning regretting is a punishment that we're going to be stuck with for eternity. And therefore, God forbid that we go to that area. Hence, no decision, right? So let me clarify unravel this myth and encourage you to think about regret in a different way. So first and foremost, regret is an emotion, a feeling. So it's a vibration within our bodies that is generated based on a particular thought, something like, I shouldn't have done this way, or I shouldn't be doing it this way because I may regret it. So regret may come in the form of a future appearance or the past appearance. Now, knowing that it's a feeling that is generated by our own thoughts, obviously you may say, no, regretting was the right thing to do because I knew why I regretted and I shouldn't have done this. Fine. If that's the case, then the question is, what are we going to do with this regret now that we know why we're regretting? Meaning that we shouldn't have done this way. Now it's good information, good lesson to learn, and then move on. However, how it often happens that I observe is that if we had regret from the past, we tend to hold on to it and think, this was bad. I should have never done this way. Now I did it, and I shall regret and punish myself for the rest of my life. Or another one is that I may regret it, therefore I'm not going to go for what I'm really desiring to go for. So I just stay where I am because I'm more afraid of the regret than indecision. And in nowhere in this conversation of making decision are we asking the question, are we using regret in the right way to our advantage? Or are we just afraid of regret and therefore shutting everything out? Obviously, you will answer the question yourself, right? But I just want you to be aware and consider, why are we not asking this question of, are we using regret right in this context? Even though we often ask the question of, are we making the right decision? By the way, if you're in my emailing list, you have received my email today about how to make the right decisions. So if you're not in my email, get into my email list and I will send you the same information. And that's something that I thought I would answer to my listeners. Excuse me. That I get this question often is how to make the right decision. So we seem to be so keen on knowing how to make the right decision, yet we're not really addressing the actual problem, which is, or blocking stone, right? Which is the regret. Now, if you're not making decision because of other reasons, then obviously you also need to look at whether that's a good reason for not making a decision. But for those of us who is using regret as a reason not to make decision, I just want to encourage you to think about, is it worse not making a decision because of regret? And the other question, of course, you can also think about is that even if you do regret afterwards, it can still be used as a tool to learn the lesson of what we shouldn't have done, rather than a scaring tool. So, and the other question that I guess I also want you to encourage to answer for yourself is, what are the things worth regretting about? And what are the things are there to regret in order to learn a lesson and then go further and do other things and try other things? Because if we are staying in indecision, our idea of being comfortable or being harmed less than regretting may not really be true. So you think about whether what you are reasoning in terms of indecision is really the right reason, because you may actually suffer more from indecision than from regretting. Now, let's have a look at regretting from a different perspective. What if we looked at regretting as a wonderful chance to learn all the things that we shouldn't have done? And I'm sorry. And if we approach it from that perspective, we were not scared of it. But even if we were scared of it, we still thought, okay, regretting could be a good lesson to learn what not to do again or not anymore. And therefore, this is one thing that we will learn, and then we will go forward and move on, because we will know that we are in charge of how we're generating our feelings. And therefore, regretting is optional, but if we decide to regret it, all we can do from regretting is learn the lesson. I don't think it's there to for us to hold on to forever. Or I don't think regret is there for us to then not make any decisions anymore. I think regretting has a purpose to teach us a lesson, and then we know what not to do next, and then we move on to doing more to achieve whatever we want to achieve. So that's why I really encourage you to think about, what is it that you are regretting now, be it from the past, or maybe even things in the future that you think you will regret, therefore you're not really making a decision. Then the next question is are you using regret in the right way, meaning that you use a lesson of regret and then you move on? Or are you using it as a scary tool, or a tool that scares you in order not to move forward, but rather stagnate? And what is it worth regretting about, and what it is not regretting about? All of these are questions for you, of course, to reflect. But what's important in all of these scenarios is that regretting is not something that happens to us. It is something that we are in charge of. And whenever we are in charge of, we can decide whether to regret or not. And absolutely, it's in our purview to regret it. But then if we do that, let's use it to get its messages. Like I always say that every feeling, emotions are like ambassadors within our body, sending us messages of what's going on, right? And it's our job to receive it, process it, or learn about it, and then let them go. And not hold on to it all of the time. And I feel like regret is one of those feelings that we hold on to so much so that we are willing to stay where we are, not to develop ourselves, or not to start new relationships, not to start new careers because of the fear that we may regret. And I want to just offer you, how about we use regret more for learning lessons and not against ourselves by using them as scaring tools. Okay. Having said that, I hope that you will try out in your own life, whatever it is that you are regretting about, or you think that you will regret, excuse me, because of which you are not making decision currently. Think about what is indecision costing you now. And if you were not afraid of regretting, what would you have already achieved? What would you have already had? And how long are you waiting for getting that by learning from possible regrets and move forward? Okay, my dears, it was a pleasure to talk to you, even though it was a short one today, and I think it's fine because I've been sending you a lot of podcasts on a long version, so sometimes a short one might be also useful. Great. If you have any questions about regret, or how to remove or how to work with regret that you have now in order to move forward, you let me know. I'm happy to invite you for a free coaching session. In the meantime, I wish you an amazing weekend. Bye, friends.